What we're going to cover now is showing you exactly how to play that little piece of music that I played at the start of this video. It was just a regular chord sequence, a simple chord sequence, but using a combination of these different patterns that we've done and sort of incrementally going between them. And as a warm-up to that, a great thing can be just to stay on this C chord one final time and go between each of these patterns, similar to how I recommend people work on their strumming, going between on the beat to 8th strumming to 16th strumming and back again. That's my primary exercise for getting people strumming correctly. With this quick little warm-up, we would be going from just the normal inside out on the C chord to inside out with 3-string alternating bass to inside out, outside in, just adding that 3rd finger to the previous pattern. You don't have to be able to play it up to that kind of speed to be able to do that or do this next section, but that's what we're aiming for. That's a nice roundabout speed. So the chords that I played in the piece that I began this video with were the C major chord with the root note on string 5, to what I call the fingerstyle G chord. So you may know a G like this, but in fingerstyle, so we can keep this first finger free, we're going to play it with fingers 2, 3 and 4. But for this little piece, the little finger is going to go here, so 1 string higher, to play what is essentially a G6, a Beatles chord. How the Beatles songs in the early 60s all ended, with a 6 chord. Then to a standard A minor, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. To an E minor, which can be played like this, with the middle 2 fingers, kind of the rock hand E minor. Then we're going to go to what is essentially an F major 7, so the easy way to play an F, but we do want this thumb ringing out in the bass. And then finally, we've got a little kind of nice way of playing what's an F minor chord. And technically, it would be an F minor 6. Again, why are we not using bar chords, the F and the F minor for this chord? Because we can't then add a melody if we're barring with this first finger, whereas with this one, we could still play melodies. So if you've struggled with bar chords in the past, there are many things about fingerstyle that can actually become easier for you if that barring is a little bit harder. But it is a finely tuned skill and it can take a little while to get. But they're the chords in the piece. Let's have a look at the finger picking pattern. So to begin with, on the C chord, we just go for the inside out pattern that we learned originally. When we go to the G6, we're going to go for the inside out, outside in pattern. And notice that in this particular example, because we've changed chord, it's a little different from the pattern that we learnt earlier, because the root note of a G chord is now on string 6 rather than string 5. So that can confuse a few people, but go with it for now, and we'll just try and learn this very short piece just to give a bit more context to the exercises and the patterns that we've learnt already. So on a G6 chord, the Beatles chord, thumb now goes between 6, 4, 5, 4. First 3 fingers, 1, 2, 3, go between 1, 2, 3, and back to string 2. Really slowly, 3, 4. One more time. And again, the tab for this lesson is totally for free on the website. If you're not looking at it already, you should be, because it will really help. Then we go to the A minor chord. Which is back to the normal inside-out pattern. So the same as the C chord. Then the same pattern but using an E minor chord as our example. So now instead of starting and having the root note on the A string, the first note, the root note, is 6, and then we're going between 6 and 4. So the root note on the E minor chord is this, and the pattern on that E minor chord, so the 4th bar of the tab. And a recap over those would be 2, 3, 4. And as always, it is very much the joins, so the changes of chords, which normally happen at the end of every bar or between bars, which are the hardest. So staying on each chord and practicing that pattern for longer than is written is a really good idea to get used to it. And building up to those joins, allowing you to get a rhythm. But then don't be afraid to go super slow when you're changing chords, or something like this. The second line of the tab, going from the F chord, it's exactly the same pattern as we just looked at on the E minor. And then, this is a tricky grip for many people, but we move the first finger up a string and lift off the middle finger. That would be this pattern. And then we go for a pattern which is derived from the inside out, outside in, but the thumb is only going to go between string 6 and 4. And that first finger, second and third, we're first of all going to go between first finger and second. And then first and third finger, and back to first and second. So it's really similar to what we did on the G6 a second ago, between string 6 and string 4. And that is our pattern on this F minor 6 chord, one more time. And then I just, to shorten it, returned to the C chord and finished. And we also did a little tap up at 12th, around 12th, 13th and 14th fret. And that will allow us to get that nice harmonic sound, which we get, this is called a natural harmonic, and you get it by tapping the strings 12 frets up from where you're holding them down. Happens in other positions as well, but it's particularly effective 12 frets above. So let's just have a recap over each one of those nice and slowly. Let's actually go from that F chord and just do the last 4 bars because they are a little more tricky, and then we'll go through the whole thing. So from the F chord, essentially the F major 7 with the thumb in the bass. Changing, so the first finger goes up, little finger goes down, and middle finger is off. And the whole thing from the top. that is how to do the pattern that I played at the beginning of this piece. I will finish this lesson just by playing, expanding on that, so just playing a longer chord sequence with exactly the same principles to show you guys kind of how free fingerstyle playing can be, you know, how open it can be, rather than just having your eye stuck on a bit of tab or following exactly what someone else has done. Just knowing which chords are in a key and trying to play melodies around them is really fun. So we will play you out with this. Thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't already.